The Spellbinders November Kit Clubs are available for everyone now, and I may have said this before, but these are really my favorite clubs ever. Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel. I am super excited to be able to share the November clubs with you this month. They are just so much fun. If you haven't seen my Cozy Toes video, I will link to that in the YouTube description box and I'll link it at the end of this video, but that is just an add-on that you can get. The clubs themselves are just such a blast. These are all the dies from the large die of the month, and if it looks like there's a lot going on here, there kind of is, but it all is bag charms to put on a purse. Now there's this one die here, right there, that I at first could not figure out for the life of me what it was for, but it goes along with this little clip die. So you adhere it behind and then it kind of closes the clip, but it can still be pried open. These are the stencils of the month, and I created this cherry background, and you can see I cut out with the large die a partial purse. So this is not a full purse. You're going to see part of the purse on the card, and then you're going to hang the bag charms off of the purse. There are other elements for the purse, like a strap and the attachment from the strap to the purse. There's also a chain if you'd rather the strap be a metal chain, and there are just a bunch of different options to really customize your purse. I liked using the cherry stencil for the purse pattern on this one. I hadn't done that before, and it really does create a pretty cute look. There's also a die to create kind of a scarf that's tied around the strap of the purse, and since this is an A2 card, I did cut off the side of that just so it would all fit in an envelope. There's several elements that can be rings, chains, things to add the charms to so that they're hanging off of the purse. So I cut those all out of gold mirror cardstock just to add a real bit of shine there. And you can see that larger chain, that's the one that you can also use as a strap. So there's dice, there's a little key lock, there are cherries, there's a bow to put on something like the cherries, there's a teeny tiny little change purse. It's just so much fun to create. This Charmed to Know You is from the BetterPress this month, and it really goes well with pretty much everything in the kit. This is the stitching die this month, and you can see I've created with just the purse die. I've created several purses without stitching them. One, I used the embossing folder of the month, and that creates that kind of chain background. One, I used the 3D embossing folder of the month, and that creates that tufted background. And two of these, I used the stitching die but did not stitch it. So don't think you always have to do all the stitching. You can absolutely just die cut and have some fun. But for this one, I did want to show you that it can be stitched and it looks really cute. There's also this little pup. This is a pup in a purse. So this little pup comes with a little sweater, and obviously you can customize the look of the pup in different colors, and of course the look of the purse as well. This little piece that's a U is kind of the interior of the purse. So you'll adhere the pup to the interior, and then there's a little line around that interior, and that's where you'll line it up with the purse itself. Now I have a plain piece here that I've die cut without stitching, and that's just so I can adhere the stitching die down to the non-stitched purse, and that will just stay together a lot easier. It'll also be easier to then adhere to my card. There's also a handle for the purse, and there's that part of the strap that's kind of metallic. So there's lots of fun things you can do to customize this as well. You could even put some little gems. I've done that on the little stitching holes. It looks really fun. This is the embossing folder of the month. It has that kind of chain link background. It comes out really beautifully in just white for a subtle background that you could use on a lot of different cards. And obviously you can use it on a bunch of colors as well. So I popped up the dog in the purse and then used one of the sentiments. Here's to another well-styled year, which I had run through the Glimmer machine. This is the die of the month. It creates these cute little brunch items. There's a waffle a sunny side up egg, a little glass that can be either champagne or mimosa. There's bacon and a tiny little coffee cup that one of these little characters can use. Now there are legs and arms that you can cut out with that die and create really cute little characters. I decided to not use the legs and arms this time, but I did use the Let's Do Brunch sentiment flag that comes in the die of the month. So I just cut them all out, layered them up, and now I'll place them on a plain A2 white background. I love just letting these guys be the star of the show just because they're so adorable. But everything popped up on some foam squares, and then the little coffee cup I decided to add to the side of the waffle, even though it doesn't have arms in this version, but you could definitely add those arms in. It looks just as cute. The wax seal of the month creates this beautiful little glass, this champagne glass with a ribbon around it. And the wax seal beads that come this month are this coral mix. So you can see you can create a bunch of different colors of wax seals, or you can create a marbleized version using several of the colors together or each of the colors in the wax seal. You can add a little gem to the base of the drinking glass part there and use the wax seal circular adhesives from Spellbinders to adhere the wax seal to your project. I decided to use the wax seal as another charm on another bag. So this purse, I actually used the 3D embossing folder to create the purse. And then I have the strap, that little mini coin purse hanging as a charm, and then the charm to know you, but this time with the blush foil on black. It looks phenomenal. I am definitely using blush on black again in the future. All right, so here is the Glimmer Kit Club of the month. It is that background, that chain link background that you see in the embossing folder as well. So here, again, I'm using that blush foil with the blush side face down to the plate and then black cardstock behind it. I'll place everything down on top of each other and then place my plates on top. Whoa, it slid a little bit there. And then start the timer. And here are the two sentiments that come in the Glimmer kit of the month. And this is the blush foil, just so you see everything that's included. Here is the outcome there. I absolutely love how it looks on black. I think it's just so elegant and fancy. So this time I'm creating a 5x7 card. I did cut down to 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, that gray cardstock, so I could put the purse on that and then mat it on some black cardstock. Here's the chain as a purse strap, and you can use, again, lots of metallic to make it look fancy. I decided to add the scarf. This time I can use the whole scarf because I'm using a 5x7 card, and there's that little attachment that would be the opening on the purse there, and I put the little lock on it as well. Once again, I have those dies. I think they're so cute. In another card I made, I did cut out pink dies. I think of pink fuzzy dies. This time I cut the cherries out of that bright red and added the faces. You can either keep them plain or cut out the little faces. There's also a little teddy bear charm. And then thanks for showing up in style is just such a cool sentiment, just so much fun. And then I just added some of these Spellbinders gems for a little extra extravagance right there on your purse and on the card itself. These are so much fun to create. I could make about 1,000,000 of them. They're just so much fun, and they just come out really cute. So here's the 3D embossing folder of the month. It's a petite tuft background, and you can see how those little tufts come from the point of the intersection of all of those diamonds. Now, this is the original tufted background. You can see how much bigger it is. So the smaller background is great for A2 cards. The big one, it's fine for A2 cards. You could definitely use it for them, but this one you're going to see more of that tufted background. Here is the bonus die that comes in the kit and caboodle. So that is where you get all of the club kits. You get a bonus item each month. This month it's this cute little flying pig die. Now that little flying pig could of course be another charm on the purse. I decided to use them to create their own little cards. So I have a little light pink pig and then a darker pink pig, and then I have kind of a glittery pig with glittery wings. And that sentiment, life's more fun with a little flair, I thought was perfect for that little glittery pig. But obviously flair is like the charms themselves, so it would be perfect on any of the purse cards as well. This is the BetterPress of the month. It's a registration BetterPress. That means that you get this acetate piece that you tape down to the magnetic base of the BetterPress. And so there are two BetterPress images. There's the girl holding her cup of coffee, and then there's a little dog that she's walking. You could use the girl alone if you wanted to, or you can also add the dog, and I'll show you how to do that. So I have my BetterPress cardstock taped to the clear plate, flipped it over after I inked it up and ran it through the BetterPress machine. Take the girl off, and now add the little dog with the leash. Don't move the paper at all. Ink up the little dog. Make sure that it's right in the lines of the registration sheet, and make sure you're adding enough ink so that you don't have to re-ink it, because sometimes these things slide around on the acetate. But look at that. So cute. I love this image. It's so much fun. These Perfect Touch rectangle dies are great for adding just a nice little element around the outside. This is a great way to create a watercolor background. I actually used watercolor cardstock instead of BetterPress for this. Watercolor cardstock works pretty well too, because it kind of has the same consistency as the BetterPress. But the cool thing about watercolor cardstock is then it makes it really easy for the colors to move around, and you can add them to your image. And the ink for BetterPress is waterproof, so it does not smear when you add that watercolor on top. I'm using some watercolor markers. I just scribble onto my glass mat and use the Spellbinders water brush to pick up the color and add it to the image. Super, super simple and cleans up really nicely on the glass mat as well. Some of the colors that I'm using are darker, and I'll use them as more accents, or I'll completely color in the image with those colors, and some I have more watered down so they give that watercolor effect. I like to mix those together for contrast, and for this one I decided to do all pinks for the girl, and then the little pup is gray. And of course a little shading to the outside of the coffee cup, and then a little shading underneath the feet. If it feels like to you the image is floating, a little bit of gray shading underneath the image will add just a little bit of stability to it, make it look like it's grounded, and just give a little shadow underneath her feet and then underneath the dog as well. And that just kind of finishes off that image. I cut out a slightly larger Perfect Touch rectangle and in a darker color pink, and then Life is Better with Girlfriends is the perfect sentiment for this. I love how this comes out. Next up is the clear stamp and die. You can see that there are some very tiny images that don't have dies, but the main three characters do, and all of the sentiments do. So that's really nice, because then you can add some dimension behind your sentiment and your characters. So you can see I just did some very basic coloring on the characters themselves and then added one of the sentiments. This is the Perfect Arch dies, and it has that same element around the outside. It's not a stitch, it's kind of these little U shapes, but it looks so pretty and it's such a nice finishing touch. So I did use the 3D embossing folder for the background and then cut the arch out of Cosmic Sky cardstock, and I'll add a few gems on top just for a little sparkle and shine. I love the sentiment. Thanks for being my go-to girl, and I love that all of these kit clubs this month are about friendship and besties and all of that. So it's just a really positive, fun bunch of kit clubs. I hope you find these clubs as much fun as I did. I love how innovative they are, how fun they are, how different they are, and they really make cute cards very quickly and easily. But I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Let me know if you're getting any of the clubs, or if you've decided to add some clubs this month, or how you feel about this month's release. As always, I want to thank you so much for stopping by and spending time with me today. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon. Ooh. was like number 4 and my cheeks feel like they're gonna fall off.